The Soviet Union established gun control in 1929. Just from the years 1929 to 1953, over 20 million political dissidents, unable to defend themselves because all of their guns were confiscated, were rounded up and exterminated. That's only the political dissidents. That's not the others that they herded up in the middle of the night and took them in boxcars to the front, put them in prison camps, slave labor to work. Then Turkey established gun control in 1911. From 1915 to 1917, 1.5 million Armenians, unable to defend themselves because all their guns were confiscated, were rounded up and exterminated. Germany established gun control in 1938. From the years 1939 through 1945, approximately 13 million gypsies, Jews, homosexuals of the effeminate gender, not the masculine type of homosexuals, mentally ill people, and other people that they said were mongrelized of mixed races, were unable to defend themselves because they confiscated their guns, they were rounded up and put in the gas chambers. China established gun control in 1935. From 1948 till 1952, 20 million political dissidents who were unable to defend themselves were rounded up and exterminated. Guatemala established gun control in 1964. Now that's the South American hemisphere. From 1964 to 1981, 100,000 Mayan Indians who no longer could defend themselves were rounded up and exterminated. Uganda in Africa established gun control in 1970. From the year 1971 to 1979, Christians in that country, no longer able to defend themselves, were rounded up and shot down on the spot. If you've ever seen the movie Red Dawn, where the communists came into the western part of the United States, they did exactly the same thing. Cambodia established gun control in 1956. From 1975 through 77, just 3 little years, over 1 million of the highest educated class of people in that country who no longer could defend themselves were exterminated. Do you believe that gun control is a good thing? Listen to what some of the forefathers who created the Constitution of the United States had to say. Samuel Adams said the following, I quote, "The Constitution shall never be construed to authorize Congress to prevent the people of the United States who are peaceable citizens from keeping their own arms." End of quote. So the founding fathers, at least one of them, said, don't ever misconstrue the Second Amendment to mean anything other than you as a private citizen can bear arms to protect yourself in case the government becomes a tyranny. Thomas Jefferson had this to say, quote, "No free man shall ever be debarred the use of arms." End of quote. George Mason stated, and I quote, "To disarm the people is the most effective way to enslave them." End of quote. Then George Washington, the first president of the United States, I quote him, "Firearms stand next to importance to the Constitution itself. They are..."
Brothers and sisters, this is Brother Elihu, and I want to just let you guys know just where I stand on this thing here, okay? A lot of people are talking about, you know, over this last year, we've been clearly seeing our government laying the foundation and setting the stage for what seems to be a racial conflict. We've had murders that are all been racially based by cops on unarmed civilians. We've seen a bunch of crisis-created, contrived, fake killings of people, and most of them have been racially motivated. So it seems like, you know, they're trying to groom people's thought, you know, regarding African Americans and obviously firearms, because they like the most. It's like African Americans, whites, and guns. They're the like three common denominators in all of these things that's been happening over the last year. Okay, so what do I think? Well, first of all, I just want you people to understand this. Do not sit by and fall for them segmenting black people, splitting us up into categories, and then labeling whatever segment that they want to target at that particular time. Now, I think that they believe our youth to be the biggest threat to them. They're the strongest generation we've ever produced. And here in Baltimore, whenever they are discussing black youth, they are using a lot of like labeling buzzwords, you know, agitators, thugs, gangsters, criminals, you know, troublemakers, okay? And this is how they use the same strategy in, you know, guiding public opinion, dealing with the wars over the last 20 years. You know, they groom people to the buzzword terrorist, 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 Al-Qaeda, Al-Qaeda, Al-Qaeda. You know, now it's ISIL, ISIL, ISIL. You know what I'm saying? So listen out for words like, you know, that's going to single out, you know what I mean, segment a section of our people, you know, mainly our youth, and they want to try to create a, well, you know, they're after those young people, those gangsters, those thugs, those troublemakers, you know what I mean, urban dissidents, you know, urban terrorists, you know what I'm saying, homeland terrorists, you know what I'm saying, and all those kind of words and shit. Because, you know, if you attack one segment of us, you attack us all. Clearly, I hope that you brothers and sisters aren't going to sit there and watch on public television, you know, them massacre a segment of our people. You know, the Indians didn't sit up there. I don't think the Navajos sat back and watched them massacre the Cherokee. You know what I'm saying? If you attack, you know, the Navajo, you attacking Indians. And that's how you got to look at it, man. If you attacking our young people, you know what I'm saying? Or you attacking so-called, however you want to word that shit. You know, we ain't going to play the little word game with you. You know, they black folk you killing. We ain't going to fall for that little wordplay shit. We going after criminals. We going after gangsters. We're going after instigators. We're going after troublemakers. Nah, man, don't fall for that bullshit, y'all. You know, if they start killing black people, they killing black people, okay? So, you know, I hope y'all don't sit back and allow that shit, man. Please don't. All right? I'm going to make a part 2 to this, but I just wanted you guys to sit there and listen to, you know, what has history showed you in the past when it comes to, you know, what do they do to people after they disarm them, all right? And usually what follows disarming the people is extermination, okay? And this is nothing but, you know, one of their solutions to answering the question, what do you do with 40 million no longer wanted, you know, black people, former slaves, you know what I'm saying? And in the 1940s, you know, their solution was eugenics, you know what I'm saying? And they tried to use eugenics techniques to try to like limit the population, reverse the population growth, you know what I'm saying? As far as like, you know, using laws in which judges could instead of order incarceration, they could order, you know, a woman or a male to be sterilized, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? under the guise of feeble-mindedness, or you know what I'm saying, this person is just creating future burden on the United States people in the form of entitlement programs and shit of that nature. You know, this person is not likely to produce a productive member of society, a person that's going to grow up to be gainfully employed. They're going to basically produce, you know, people that's going to end up on entitlement programs, you know, and they actually did that shit. You know what I'm saying? So please don't underestimate, you know what I mean, the lengths and the levels that these people go to, man. These people are warmongers. You know, they in the murder business. They in the killing business. They've been in that business for over 6,000 years. You know what I'm saying? And that's why the Bible even says, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with them? Like, these motherfuckers are, you know, master killers. That's what they do. You know what I'm saying? That's what the fuck they do. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm not for no race war, no shit like that. But I'm also not going to sit back and allow them to fucking just start massacring black people at will. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you know, if you fight back, you're going to die. And if you don't do nothing, you're still going to die. You know what I'm saying? What do you think they're going to do? And how do you think they're going to treat the people who actually sat back and watched them massacre off a segment of their people? You think they're going to have respect for that, for the ones left that sat back and didn't do nothing? No, then they gonna come at you with the real shit. All right, motherfucker, the rest of you niggas line up for this goddamn microchip. You know, the rest of you motherfucking niggas start bringing your goddamn guns down to the goddamn end of the corner and turn them the fuck in. And if we go in your house and find any guns, you go in the motherfucking FEMA camp. You know, that kind of shit. Because the motherfucking coffins do exist. Those millions of coffins that's piled up, they do exist, and they have a goddamn purpose, whether we know what the fuck it is or not. But my best guess estimate is they for niggas. You know what I mean? I'm not even gonna play the goddamn dummy game about that bullshit. You know what I mean? These motherfucking coffins are located at so-called FEMA camps, so-called citizen detainee centers or immigration reform centers and all kinds of bullshit. You know what I mean? They're adjacent to railroad tracks. You know, all the things that took place and that was present in the Holocaust situation. You know what I mean? They made those goddamn Holocaust camps along railroad lines. You know what I'm saying? And where they had furnaces and shit like that. You know what I mean? And I'm sure those plastic coffins could be put into a goddamn kiln and then, you know, filled with 3 or 4 bodies, then put into a kiln and melt it where the plastic was just saran wrap around the goddamn bodies. You know what I mean? You know, and that's how you dispose of toxic waste. You know what I mean? You put it in like the cellophane plastic bag type coating and it like melts around the you know, the needles, if it's your needle, just disposing of needles or any kind of like infectious waste like blood and things of that nature. I once worked in the hospital, and that's how we disposed of contaminated waste. You know what I'm saying? In that same premise of using like a plastic shell that was then melted around the so-called contaminant. All right, so, you know, don't sit back and watch them kill us off, black people. You know what I mean? You're going to have to fight, man. You're going to have to fight. If they bring the shit to us, then defend your goddamn self. Period. Defend yourself, man. You know? And get into them war scrolls, man. The war scrolls say there will be 7 battles, man. 3 will win, 3 will lose. You know what I mean? And I know that the young people aren't organized right now. And I know that a lot of them are going to go out there and they're going to, you know, get their lives taken. But, you know, they learn fast. They learn fast. You know, once they see the first motherfuckers getting picked off and plucked off, believe me, they gonna get it together, man. And God is the best knower. Rely on your faith also, man. Where's your faith? You know what I mean? Don't forget your faith, man. And don't forget that God has a play and word and a hand in this too, okay? All right. I love you, brothers and sisters. Peace.